And Patrice here. I am like so pleased that this is getting easier and easier. I After publishing that first video, can't tell you. I don't remember having feel like that in a while, in a little while. That was, oh my goodness. But I was grateful that it happened after I published the video and not before. But anyway, I'm loving the this whole thing of being self-aware. It is it's everything because you can't change what you're not aware of, you know? And I'm looking at how I operate more closely to see when I am operating out of codependency or a normal, healthy kind of behavior. And it's interesting to see the difference and to be able to look back at other instances in my life where I was totally doing what like codependent giving and just codependent anything. And it's so insidious because it's a thing of it being a nice thing. Like I make soaps, lotions, all kinds of like everything. I make it, right? And I have given away so much of it to people who did not ask. There's one, it's one thing if somebody asks, but people ain't asked for nothing. And I'm like, here, I made this. Like, what are you doing? And then I go to their house and it's still in the wrap. And it's, like, I'm like, but they didn't ask for it in the first place, like I have to look at myself and say, okay, why are you giving this? Are you giving this to try to make this person happy with you and make them, like you? Because there's an element of control that goes along with, at least my brand of codependence. And it's not the kind of control that like my mom uses, but it's the like I want to try to control the environment. I want to try to control like whether or not everybody is okay, because if you're okay, then I'm okay. It reminds me of some commercial. I don't even know what it's for, but he's like, if you don't look good, we don't look good. And so it's like if you don't feel good, I don't feel good, kind of thing. And I had an event at my house, I think I mentioned last time, and how I wanted to do something for one of my dads. I call him my dad, he's my pastor, but I wanted to make him some food, and it was French toast and syrup. I made some syrup and I made some French toast, and I put it in like baggies, so that like freezer bags, so that he could freeze it and eat, as he wanted to. And I stopped after, like when I thought of it, I was like, okay, are you doing this, to try to make Gary love you more, or like, why are you doing this, And so I had this whole conversation with myself, and I'm like, well, he already loves me. And so that's done. And I don't have to win brownie points with him. Like I said, the love is already there. I just want to like, he actually just hit a year in to, he's a widower now, and he's, by himself. And I just wanted to do something nice for him. He doesn't, cook and all. So, so I did it and I feel good about it. And, but it's interesting how I have to look at those things with myself now and wonder and have these conversations with myself. Like, why am I doing even the good things that I do? And I'm intent on using all the good of what I learned as my like super strength. Like my friend, I call her Juju. Her name is Julissa. Julissa told me that my transparency is my superpower, and I was like, it is. I'm gonna use it as a superpower too. So yeah, that's something that I've been thinking about and putting into practice, and I'm trying to really pay attention to the times where I need to make a decision and stop going to others for the answers, because frankly, I hear from God. Who better to get an answer from than the creator of the whole universe, really? Like, if he's talking to you, well, what do I need to go to Sally for? So I'm really changing that, and instead of going to ask, oh, well, what do you think? What do you think about this? I'm thinking about doing this. What do you think? Instead of doing that, I'm now like going to God about it, and it's amazing. It's just wonderful, and I love how he sends me these little messages through different people. I mentioned in another video how my girl Evie called me Reese's Pieces, and as she was prophesying over me. And when she did, I was just so touched, because, and she didn't know this, but I was very close to my grandfather when he was alive. And my grandfather used to call me Reese all the time. And so when she said that, I was like, oh, like, it's like little messages from God, and maybe even from my grandfather in heaven too, So I love all that. And I wanted to take a moment to tell you about I think 2 visions that I had, that kind of looking back, I'm like, some of this was in that, So one of them, I've explained before how I'm in a community of a bunch of prophetic people, like extremely prophetic people, and I am admittedly one of them, right? I've always known things, said things like out of the blue that I didn't realize. Like, I didn't, how you do things and you don't know there's a name for it, and all. And so there was many times where I would know things that I really had no way of knowing except, through God, but, and I would do it or say it or whatever, and it would be amazing and wonderful and all that. So I really enjoy hearing God, for others. And oh my gosh, it's an amazing thing. But I'm learning to trust that I'm also hearing him just as clearly for myself, because I can easily get into this thing of, and anybody who operates in the prophetic will tell you, like, when they hear from God for themselves, they're all like, did you really say that? Or am I just making this up? And meanwhile, I'll go to so-and-so over here. Listen, God wants you to blah, blah, blah. And total confidence, like it's, nothing. And so I'm working on that, with hearing him for myself. But anyway, at a prophetic event with Gary and Russ, actually, he was, I think it was Russ, he had us do this prophetic activity where we had to, I don't know what the activity was. But anyway, what I got from it was this like elaborate, like vision movie type of thing. Right. And so basically, I met Jesus at the, like the shore. Right. And so Jesus is standing on the water and he's like, come. And I'm like, no. And he's like laughing at me. And because again, I told you I be like, no, God, no. And so, and I said to Jesus, I said, Jesus, I'm Patrice. You're getting me confused with Peter. Okay. I was like, Patrice, not Peter, And so he's like, come on. And so I was like, oh gosh, okay. And so in the vision, I walk out onto the water and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm walking on water. And so I get to Jesus. And by the time I get to Jesus, he like takes my hand and we start dancing on the water, all like ballroom style, right? And this is before Moana came out. Because when I saw Moana, I was a little freaked out. I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. They must have had a vision or something too. Because in my vision, once I got to Jesus, we started dancing on the water. And sometimes we would go in the water and we would be out of the water dancing on the water, and the water was dancing with us. The water was completely like interacting with us, just like in that movie Moana. And I was just like, so again, when I saw that, I was like, what? So, that's what happened in the vision. So after the vision was done, I told Gary about it. Gary interprets dreams and visions and all. I told Gary about my vision. He said, so the meaning of your vision is that you are to be a woman of great faith. You're gonna go through some things that are gonna require faith that is beyond what most know. And I was just like, Gary, you jacked my vision up. My vision was nice. It was pretty. The water was pretty. We was having fun. But that don't sound like fun at all. Like you jacked that up for me. And so I was like upset. No, not upset so much with Gary, but I was just like, no. Like, like when people are like, they pray for patience and now they have all these trials come along that they got to actually exercise patience. That's what that was. That's what that sounded like to me. So I was just like, oh my gosh, I don't know about this, So, and my life has been that. It has. I have had, goodness, everybody goes through something, So it's not like, oh, I'm just going through Jesus. But anyway, so that was one prophetic activity and consequent, or subsequent vision that I had with it. The next thing was a prophetic activity my friend Sandy had us do as a group of us that we do things together sometimes. She said envision that you're sitting at a table and there's a bunch of food on the table. You have your plate. Your plate has things on it. There's a bunch of other things on the table. Ask the Lord, what do you have on your plate that needs to be removed? And maybe what's on the table that needs to be put on your plate, all that. And so I did it. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, Abba, what's up with my plate? And so my plate didn't have food on it, but it had a bunch of people's faces all over my plate. And I'm like, okay. And as I'm looking, God moved the people off of my plate. And then what he did was he got on my plate and he opened his arms wide as if to accept, I accept you, I love you kind of thing. And he opened his arms wide. And then slowly people started to get back onto my plate, but through him. And after I saw that, I was like, because I do some dream interpretation and vision interpretation and all too. And I was like, Abba, are you trying to tell me I'm codependent? And it was funny because, no, I didn't even say codependent because I didn't know that word. I said, are you trying to tell me I'm a people pleaser? And I was offended. I was like, I am not a people pleaser because I will fight, And he ain't say nothing. But in time, probably a few weeks, I learned the word codependency and I started reading books on it. And I was just like, oh my gosh, that is me. It's totally me. And it all stems from the abuse that I've endured at my mother's hands growing up. And because at those times I had to employ these different behaviors to be okay. But now, I'm grateful because it's like God is showing me you don't need those anymore. You don't need any of that stuff anymore. So I'm going to show you a new way of managing your life and managing your behavior or whatever. So it's pretty awesome. And I feel so blessed, and don't think I'm special. Okay. I mean, I'm special. You special too, though. So, God, you can hear from God too, just like me. And, a lot of times I feel like people do hear from God, but, cause I can't tell you how many people I've prophesied over. I'm like, you feel like God don't speak to you, but he talks to you all the time. You just ain't listening. You ain't trying to listen. And the thing is, I do it too, because there are times where recently I was up at night. God has had me up about this YouTube channel, about these videos. And I said to him, I said, Abba, thank you for the ideas. But you could talk to me during the day too. And he was like, yeah, but you're a little more available at night. And I was like, oh, okay. So So with that, I will end the video here. And thank you so much for watching. Again, if you want to continue to see these videos, subscribe, hit the notification button, and you'll be notified of more videos as I publish them. And that's it. Bye.